Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're breaking down the World Bank's newly released June 2026 forecasts, and more importantly, the specific structural solutions outlined by EWP Financial to protect global wealth. Listen, if you're a high net worth individual or a financial advisor, this is data you absolutely need to get your arms around right now. We're going to unpack exactly what this shifting global economy means for your assets and, crucially, how to insulate them. So, the World Bank is forecasting a pretty stark drop in global economic growth. We're talking a slowdown to just 2.5% in 2026, down from 2.9% in 2025. And honestly, this isn't just some minor blip. This represents the lowest growth rate we've seen since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. Two-thirds of the world's economies have seen their forecast downgraded, which tells us a significant economic deceleration is already well underway.
To make sense of all this, we'll walk through a quick 5-step roadmap. First, the 2026 economic slowdown. Second, wealth under pressure. Third, the EWP framework. Fourth, the PPLI advantage. And fifth, a plan built to last.
All right, Section 1, the 2026 economic slowdown. Let's look at the immediate macroeconomic threats we are facing globally. Get this. Brent crude oil is projected to average $94 a barrel in 2026. Driven by ongoing Middle East conflicts, we're looking at a massive 36% jump from 2025 levels, and that is going to ripple through everything. Energy shocks of this magnitude trigger renewed inflation across the globe. They compress margins, and they absolutely force central banks to keep monetary policy tighter for much longer than anyone anticipated. The OECD's June 2026 economic outlook echoed the World Bank's warnings perfectly. They noted that global growth could fall as low as 2.1% in a prolonged disruption scenario, potentially tipping several economies right into recession. We are quite literally teetering on the edge of a severe downturn here, and this is a global story, not just a regional one. Moving on to Section 2. Wealth under pressure. Let's see how this stress tests traditional wealth structures right now. Here's where things get really tricky. We are facing a crucial dual threat. In periods of economic deceleration, two things happen at the exact same time. First, those energy price shocks make your equity, real estate, and fixed income assets incredibly volatile. Second, governments are running elevated deficits, meaning they apply intense fiscal pressure by seeking new tax revenue, and they specifically target mobile wealth. It's the ultimate squeeze. Your assets are shrinking in value just as governments are reaching deeper into your pockets. Because of this intense environment, the source material emphasizes a very stark reality. The window for proactive planning is slamming shut. As government scrutiny of wealth increases to cover all those deficits, the time to restructure and legally protect your assets without being forced into desperate compromises is disappearing fast. You've got to act before the pressure peaks. Which brings us to Section 3, the EWP framework. Let's look at the structural solution detailed by Michael Malloy and EWP Financial. Enter Expanded Worldwide Planning, or EWP. Think of it as a highly sophisticated international planning framework designed precisely for a moment like this. Built on 6 core principles, EWP's whole goal is to legally minimize your worldwide tax burden while maximizing investment performance, no matter where you're located. Because it uses a really robust cross-border architecture, EWP operates entirely above the noise of any single country's economic downturn or sudden tax policy shift. According to EWP Financial, this framework basically equips your wealth with 3 distinct superpowers. First, jurisdictional flexibility. You can manage wealth across borders without triggering a cascade of taxes. Second, structural resilience, meaning the legal framework doesn't depend on the political stability of any one nation. And third, long horizon thinking. It shifts your wealth strategy to span decades, keeping you totally insulated from daily news cycles and temporary market panics. Now for Section 4, the PPLI advantage. This is the real engine powering the framework in an inflationary, high-rate environment. That engine is private placement life insurance, or PPLI for short. Look, when central banks keep rates higher for longer to fight inflation, holding unoptimized taxable assets becomes incredibly expensive. Every single basis point of tax drags down your real returns. PPLI is a globally recognized, fully compliant insurance wrapper that allows your assets to grow tax-deferred. In today's climate, shielding your compounding returns from taxation isn't just some nice marginal improvement, it's an absolute structural advantage. It cleanly eliminates those exact fiscal pressures we talked about earlier. Inside a properly structured policy, you have no annual taxable events, no capital gains triggered when you have to rebalance your portfolio for market shocks, and zero inheritance tax exposure on death benefit transfers. It literally creates a perfectly insulated environment for your wealth to compound, completely legally. And the source notes it's not just for your traditional stocks and bonds either. This compliant wrapper seamlessly incorporates modern portfolios, alternative investments, real estate, digital assets. They can all grow within this PPLI structure, which is recognized across most global jurisdictions. We're talking total portfolio protection under one unified cross-border umbrella. Finally, Section 5, a plan built to last. Let's look at the track record of these structural defenses when the global economy actually breaks. Over the last 4 decades, the methodology outlined by Michael Malloy has successfully guided high-net-worth individuals and family offices through major global disruptions, from the 80s savings and loan crisis to the 2008 collapse, through COVID-19, and now into this 2026 Middle East-driven slowdown. It proves, definitively, that these legal architectures outlast geopolitical and economic shocks. The ultimate takeaway from EWP Financial's philosophy is this. You've got to build before the crisis, not during it. The wealth that survived the crashes of 2008 and 2020 intact all shared one common foundation. The protective structures were built while the planning windows were fully open, not in a panic when everything was falling apart. So, as the World Bank clearly signals a volatile, high-inflation, low-growth environment for 2026, I'll leave you with this vital question to ask yourself and your advisors today. Look at your portfolio. Is it merely built for the calm we're leaving behind? Or is it structurally engineered with tools like EWP and PPLI to withstand the storm that's already gathering? The time to decide is absolutely right now.